Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. I'm a little bit late this evening. I know a little past 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, but I am here. I made it yet again. And I've been trying these last couple of weeks to try to get back into the groove of doing shows. I know I have not done. I've been insanely busy doing so many other things, heavily consulting and stuff like that. But I do want to keep coming back to the shows. And if you remember, about 2 weeks ago, I said I would start doing a more simpler, a Sharpe solutions type of show, which I would just explain how you can fix something, which we always complain. Libertarians are bad that way. We very often say government bad, everything's bad, but we don't often do a very good job of giving an actual solution to something that would at least be libertarian leaning, if not 100% libertarian in some way, shape, or form. And I tend to try to do that, so I wanted to tonight. That is why I decided to do this show. And for some of you who like Larry, but I want to ask you questions. I know you do. That's why I try to do AMAs every week. And I'll be doing an AMA tomorrow. So tomorrow night, I'll do an AMA and ask me anything. I'll do that. But I wanted to try to get another solutions out because I did not do one last week. I was supposed to. I did not. So I'll do it this week and I'll do one next week also. Maybe during the DNC stuff next week. So when you're bored watching that, you can watch me instead. Look at that because I care about you guys. So this evening, I want to talk about the military-industrial complex. And for those of you who want to change it and shift and adjust it, hopefully I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons why and how. What you will find with many people who are unhappy about it, who don't like the wars that we're constantly in, who don't like our foreign policy, what you will often find out is people just go, tear it all down. Tear it all down. Shut the bases down. Shut it all down. Shut it all down. That sounds amazing. However, it's not even close to possible or realistic. And to just shut it down, if somehow you could do so, it would devastate our economy overnight. Am I saying we should keep it? Of course not. Of course not. I'm saying there is a way that we can get rid of the military-industrial complex without creating so much pain within our nation and also keeping us safe and all the other things that we're talking about. It absolutely can be done, but it takes time and it's not simple. It is a detailed piece. So let me try to cover a bunch of them. The first thing, most people believe that the five or six contractors that do almost all the work here, that they're evil, horrible corporations who want to kill people. Absolutely not true. And I'm not sitting here simping for them at all. All I'm saying is they are not evil and mean. They are apathetic. And that distinction is important. The companies that sell all the stuff to the military-industrial complex aren't doing it because they're evil and they want people to die. No, they're apathetic. If people die, okay. If they don't die, okay. Their goal is absolutely to sell high profit margin items with no competition. That's what they want to do. Now, whether that's bombs or trucks or whatever, they don't care. If I can sell high profit margin items with no competition, that is my goal. I get it. I'm not mad at them for thinking that way. I'm mad at us for creating a system that they can absolutely take advantage of. You know, go, but Larry, they're doing all these weapons. No, it's not all weapons. Of the manufacturing in America today, give or take, about 60%, I'm not joking, of all manufacturing in America is somehow connected directly to the military-industrial complex. Yes. The military-industrial complex is not a death machine. That's the outcome. The machine, what it actually does, it's a jobs creator. It's a jobs program. It's a massive jobs program. Only about 10% of our manufacturing is actual weapons. 60% is all the other things, the trucks and the shirts and the socks and the helmets and all the other things that we put together, right? And the MREs and the food and all the things that we do and the oil and everything that we do. About 60% of manufacturing comes from the military-industrial complex. You want, excuse me, you want to shut that down overnight. You want to destroy 60% of America's manufacturing industry overnight. Do you understand what a terrible idea that would be? Now, I'm not saying, again, I'm not trying to simp for them. I don't want this to happen. I'm against it. It's terrible. What I'm saying is that's where we are now. I didn't put us there, right? But there we are right now. It's almost like they're a parasite, and if you kill the parasite, you kill the host, right? So we're almost at that point. We kind of are at that point. So we got to somehow figure to do that. Not just that, most things are made in multiple states. If these things, the F-35 I think is made like 12 states or something like that, some crazy number. Well, now I'm losing jobs in different states. If you live in New York, as I do, upstate New York, oh my God, almost any new large jobs are military industrial complex. So now you say, well, why don't we stop it? Well, I have 60% of my manufacturing jobs reliant upon it. Most of these jobs are decent jobs. People are paying their bills on these jobs. How am I going to get someone to vote against paying their bills? That's what I'd be doing. Shut it down. Why? So you cannot pay your bills. Who's going to vote against that? Oh, sorry. Who's going to vote for that? Not many people are. So that's the first piece to understand, which is why I'm saying we have to find a way of making this work. And we can, right? And we absolutely can. But this is the first piece to understand. So what we have to start worrying about actually here is understanding it's a jobs program, understanding what a big chunk of our economy it is. We have it's about $850 billion, give or take, is what we spend on our military. Give or take 4 million or so contractors. I mean, 15% of our GDP is military industrial complex. 15% is military industrial complex. That's huge. About half of that goes to contracts. Could you imagine if we all of a sudden got rid of 15% of our GDP? Do you see how involved they are? This is why I'm saying this idea of libertarians, shut it down, close the bases, walk away. Not realistic. All right, so with all of that in mind, we have to still have a military. We can't have no military. Well, I know some of you think that. I don't believe that. I'll say that. I don't think we can have no military. I think we have to have a military, of course, in my view. Some of you disagree. Got to have military. Have to be able to deal with this. Can't destroy our economy. Bad idea to do that. And we also have agreements. We've touched that too. We've got about 700 bases around the world, give or take. With those 700 bases, each of them has an agreement that the government has agreed to, either an actual peace treaty, option one, or a thing called a SOFA, not like the couch. It is a status of forces agreement. So some kind of agreement we made that says we will be there. You might go, Larry, why do I care? Here's the other thing that you may not know. Not only is this a jobs program for us, it's a jobs program for other countries too. Yes, another jobs program. So when you have X number of bases in Germany or Japan or Turkey or wherever you have your bases, part of your agreement is for you to hire local people to service the base. Yeah. So now you have a jobs program, not just for America, but also for them. So it's an international jobs program. Yeah. So if we all of a sudden go, no, we're done, we're just going to stop it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now all our allies are angry at us too because we just got rid of their jobs program. Now here's the good part of all those agreements. Step one to everything I just said is looking at every single agreement that we have. All 700 of them, if that's the case. Some multiple bases will be on one agreement. So probably there's a couple hundred agreements. Whatever those couple hundred agreements are, every one of them has an opt-out in some way. It might be 6 months, might be a year, it might be you must do this or do that or even pay something, whatever. There's an opt-out. Exercise every single opt-out with one exception. And the exception is, what is the bare minimum America needs to police the sea lanes? I know some of you are going to be mad when you hear that. Larry, why the hell is America going to police sea lanes? I will tell you why. It's not a libertarian answer, to be very full with you, right? Private companies should be finding their own answers. International should be finding their own answers. We should be having treaties. Agreed. You're right. That's what should happen. Currently, the way the world is today, there is not a Navy on the planet that could do it. That's where we are. The British Navy is basically non-existent. German Navy, non-existent. Chinese Navy is very local, can't do deep water with a dam. Russian Navy could never do it. The means to police our current system does not exist. We cannot do it. It doesn't exist. We are the only ones who can. Now, would you say, Larry, let's now create a system to where we can pull back and have others help or have private companies pay for their own or something like that? 100%. 100%. We could absolutely have other people or plan for the future. Sure, I'm 100% in. But at this moment in time, there is no other Navy on the planet that could ensure that we have trade among the seas. It doesn't exist. So we have to make sure we have that. Besides that, exercise all of the outs for the treaties. Odds are within about 3 years, give or take, probably within about 2, we can shut down all of our bases except for the ones that we need to police the sea lanes. All gone. About 2 years. And they're not angry. We go through the proper way of doing it. The next thing people say, we got to shrink our military, take all our people home and discharge them. I've heard this more than once. Militarians go, take them all back and just discharge them. There's give or take between 1.5 to 2 million people in our military at any given time, right? So your awesome plan is to take 1.5 million people and make them jobless overnight and put them in America. Meanwhile, you're trying to destroy our manufacturing base. What could go wrong? That is a horrible idea. But I need to go one step further. We also have contracts. And if you are a libertarian, and I hope many of you are, you have to agree with contracts. You made a contract, right? So if your officers, you can remove them. They don't have a contract. You can say, look, they serve at the pleasure of the president. You can fire them anytime you want. No worries. You could easily cut our officer corps, I'm not joking, by 2/3 tomorrow and nobody would notice. We have more generals today than we had during World War II. I wish I was joking. I'm not. We could easily just erase 2/3 of our officer corps today. Nobody would notice. And we should. 2/3, just goodbye, guys, go get jobs. Now, why is that cruel? No, they're all officers. They'll be fine. No worries. All good. Let it go. Now we're enlisted. Every one of our enlisted people has a contract, an agreement that they will stay and serve for 2 years, 6 years, 8 years, whatever the case may be. They're all going to be serving, right? We just honor those contracts. Many of them have families. Imagine taking a guy who thinks he's got a family and he just re-enlisted for 4 years. You go, yeah, by the way, you're fired tomorrow. Bye. Wife and kid? Oh, well, good luck with that. Terrible idea. Let them all know, hey, we're only accepting X% of re-enlistments. Otherwise, you're not re-enlisted. Now I know, okay, I got 3 years left of my contract. I'm out. I got 2 years. I'm out. Okay. Now I can plan. Again, over the course of 3 to 5 years, you begin to now shrink your military. And I was going to say, Larry, we can't shrink our military. The bad guys are going to come get us. 100% not true. Not true at all. First off, to be realistic, nobody, no country on the planet is going to do a land invasion of America. That's not a thing. That's fantasy TV shows that you saw. That's not going to happen. That is maybe 100 years from now, it's going to be true. And we'll change our military then. But until then, we do not require a massive land force. How do I know that? And they know that. The Marine Corps is getting rid of, or maybe already has gotten rid of all of its tanks. Yes, there's no more tanks in the Marine Corps. They don't need them anymore. Done. So we don't need that. We need to focus on 3 things more than anything else. Number 1, we need to have a strong Navy. Have to have a strong Navy. Must, as I said, to make sure that that protects our borders. Our Navy protects our borders, right? That's what really, a strong Navy, we're good. They got to cross a big ocean to get us. So big Navy, got to have make sure that, and got to guard the sea lanes. So we focus on our Navy, number 1. Number 2, we focus on special forces. We have the best special forces on the planet. We got rid of a bunch because of, our stupid policies during the 2020s and so, right? Bad. We focus heavily on our special forces. Why? The odds of an actual country declaring war on us are slim to none. But can we be attacked? Yes. There are many special forces that can attack us. 100%. There are many special forces that can attack us, whether that's through being bad guys like on 911, right? Or whether that is other things, cyber, whatever. So special forces are critical to have. We need to have guys who can go in and take somebody out, go in and blow something up, go in and trash something, that kind of stuff. Absolutely. And I include in special forces, cyber forces, which we, by the way, are way behind on compared to some other countries. Way behind, cyber forces. So special forces, like how do we have a strike team can go here, strike team who can go there? Do we want to keep some infantry and tanks? Probably, but not much, to be fair with you. Not much. Why would we? We're finding right now how that works in the Ukraine-Russia war. Tanks get destroyed every 5. They knock out a multi-million-dollar tank with a $200 drone. I'm not making that up. It's happening now. We've learned our lessons, sadly, at the cost of who knows how many hundreds of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives. I don't even know how many, whatever that number is. And they've shown us that our tanks, not so good, not so valuable. A $2 drone blows up an M1 Abrams. We've seen it more than once, right? So that's one of the reasons why Marines are like, when tanks gone, no tanks. So the Marine Corps is an elite unit, as we all know it is, and we'll keep them because we need to, of course. So we keep our elite special forces and cyber, of course. And the last piece is our nuclear deterrent. Except right now there's nuclear triad. For those you don't know, there's 3 types of nuclear weapons, basically. Our bomber force, our missile force, and our nuclear submarine force. We can absolutely and should completely dismantle and end our bomber force. That is the bombers we have are almost 100 years old. Let me repeat that. They're almost 100 years old. Yes, we have bombers from the 40s, the 30s, the 50s. Yes, they're like 80 years old. It's insane. Dismantle the bombers. And if we put bombers in the air, they'll just get shot down with today's technology. It makes no sense. Having bombers is useless. End all the bombers. Don't need any of them. No bombers when it comes to nuclear weapons. None. Submarines, part of our Navy. ICBMs. We are good. Deterrent is fine. That's all we need. Imagine cutting that back. You go, wait a minute, Larry, is that enough? Yes. Of course. Pickable asks, wait, are you talking about planes? Yes. Bomber planes. Completely unnecessary when it comes to our nuclear deterrent. Not required. Absolutely silly. Don't need them at all. Right? We could just use nuclear submarines and ICBMs. By the way, for anyone who cares, we have enough on either of them to destroy the entire world. We have enough just ICBMs to destroy the entire world, enough just on subs to destroy the entire world. So we're fine. So now we won't be able to destroy the world 3 times over, just twice. So yes, just dump the planes, not required whatsoever, and they'll just get shot down anyway, and they're insanely expensive and old. Dump them, not required. We do that, and now we have a shrunken down military that is very effective, right? Space says all we need are some swarm drones. That I would include drones in my special forces, if that makes any sense. I would include them in my special forces. I think that's part of it. So yes, drone warfare obviously is critical. And again, we see that in Ukraine, the Ukraine war right now. You're totally correct with that, but I would include that in my special forces. So yes, absolutely. Mike brings up nukes do age out. Yes, that's true. So we'd have to remake some nukes, which is fine. We rebuild them, whatever. But all we do is we keep them only in the nuclear submarines and ICBMs. The rest we don't need. We do not need bombers at all. Let them all go. That would help that. So that's how we begin to bring down our military. Within 3 years, we have dismantled most of our bases. Within treaties, people aren't angry. Awesome. We have discharged a huge chunk of our military so that they can all go home. And again, over time, so there isn't so much pain, they all know what's coming. We're able to shrink and specialize our military in today's world so we can stay safe and defend ourselves against threats and be able to go out and do pinpoint attacks on bad guys who do bad things. All of that gets taken care of. All right, that sounds good so far. But now here's the hard part. If I were to even start that without talking to the massive companies, the 5 or 6, who do all the work, who get almost $900 billion every single year, almost $900 billion every single year, and I all of a sudden start to stop that, here's what I can promise you. The 3-letter agencies would decide that I don't like being above ground anymore, and I might have a nasty accident or maybe not an accident. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And we've had people have accidents by 3-letter agencies who tried to stop this kind of thing. You know what I mean? So you might say, well, Larry, you're saying that you would be deleted. Yes. I'm telling you right, and you know that. Yes. Done. Pinkerbell brings out Boeing out here murking people already. Yes, for a lot less than that, Pinkerbell. So while I could do this, I have to somehow deal with my 5 massive companies. Now, why did I start with all the stuff that I said? They are huge. They're a massive part of our industry. They would never just let this happen. It's a fantasy to imagine. Even though I gave you what I think is a very smart, savvy, incremental way of doing things, they would never let it happen. I would have an accident. So how do I stop that? All right, remember in the beginning I said, they're not evil. They're not evil. They don't want to kill. They don't care if they kill. They're apathetic. What is their goal? Their goal is high profit, no competition. That's their goal. They don't care what they sell. Okay. So here's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to look at our world right now and change two things. I'm going to end foreign aid. What? Why would I want to end foreign aid? Well, because foreign aid is actually a jobs program. That's what foreign aid is. It's the same thing. We're not giving people like, I don't know, bread or something. We do that too, but that's just people giving bread. Foreign aid isn't that. Foreign aid is, okay, country X, here's $80 billion. 10 billion will go to all your oligarchs so that you guys can be paid off and bribed. 20 million will go into something nice that you'll make for your people as if you care about them. And 50 billion will come back to us and we'll build stuff for you and we'll make jobs here at home. That's how it actually works, right? That's how it actually works. So instead, since I'm already doing my deal, I stop giving them foreign aid. And we go, but Larry, if we don't give all these people foreign aid and we stop giving them weapons, they might get invaded. They're getting invaded now. Yeah, they're getting invaded now. That hasn't changed. They're still getting invaded. Well, Larry, they might, have a problem. And yeah, they might have to actually, make treaties with their neighbors and stuff because America won't defend them every 5 seconds. They could do that too. All those things could happen. Plus, if the companies in our world, in our country, wanted to just sell them weapons if they wanted to, they can still sell them weapons. We don't have to be involved. Your taxpayer dollars don't have to be involved. If some weapons manufacturer in America wants to just sell country X some bombs, they may. Fine, let them. Why does the government be involved? You know why? So we can control it and make it a jobs program. Does America decide who sells cars any place? No. So why are weapons any different? If some country wants to buy weapons from some place, let them buy it. I don't care. Let them buy it if they want to. Up to them. Their people can decide their fate in their way. And if they want to buy our weapons, let them. All good. China does it, and so does Russia all day long. They sell weapons all day long. So does North Korea. They all sell weapons all day long if they want to. Someone's going to sell weapons. If Americans want to sell it, awesome. But let the companies do it and let them compete out there as anyone else competes and stop taking both our taxpayer dollars and our debt. The amount of debt that's coming out of us is insane. All foreign aid goes away. Once all foreign aid goes away, once they stop buying so many weapons, once they know where they're not just giving them stuff no matter what. If they can't afford it, then they don't get it. Maybe they should start having some peace treaties. Maybe they will. I can only hope so. But not just that. We'll have pressure because we'll say we want to sell you stuff. Because here goes the key piece. Right now, some of you don't know this, America sanctions about 1/3 of the world. Let me say that one more time. America right now sanctions about 1/3 of the entire world. And you wonder why they hate us. And you wonder why they're talking about de-dollarization. Yes, this is stupid. Some of you are going to be mad at me, but I don't care. Sanctions do not work. Sanctions are terrible. Sanctions do not work. All they do is punish poor people. That's all sanctions do. And most of the time in countries that the poor people are already being punished. So now we double punish them, triple punish them, quadruple them, right? So we sanction Cuba and now they're our allies. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Yeah, they're not. But Larry, if we walk away and stop sanctioning people and we do that, then all of a sudden they're all going to hate us. They hate us now because we sanctioned them. That's insanely crazy. No, just leave them alone. Well, Larry, what evidence do you have of this crazy idea? Vietnam. We bombed Vietnam for 10 years. We killed millions of Vietnamese, millions of them. We dropped more bombs in Vietnam than we dropped in Germany during World War II. That's how many bombs we dropped in Vietnam. There are people to this day walking around missing limbs because they were walking in their field and a mine went off and blew their leg off. That's happening in Vietnam today. That is how bad it was. And guess what? We just walked away. We got our ass kicked in the end. We ran away at 1975. We ran away. And 20 years later, Vietnam literally was a trading partner. You can buy furniture today from Vietnam right now. Trading partner. Yes. So they went from we bombed them more than Germany to being a trading partner in 20 years. And we didn't have special this, but we just said, I don't care, whatever. You open up trade and they went fine. And remember, McCain was worried about that, to open trade with them. Yeah, done. McCain, who they captured him and broke his arms. And McCain was like, good, just trade, fine. I know you kept me in a prison cell for years and broke my arms. I'm good. If McCain can be okay with the Vietnamese, so can you. That's all I'm saying. Unless you're actually a former Vietnam War vet and or prisoner and you have issues, you are an exception. If you're that, you're an exception. If you're not that, if McCain can do it, you can shut up and say, okay, that's my issue. All right, so that's it. If we actually did that, the first thing we do is we stop all sanctions. Now, here's the very unlibertarian thing. However, it's the only way that someone could stay above ground and do this. The only way. You take those 5 companies, and as you remove all sanctions, you give certain companies certain special privileges in certain countries, and you give it to them for a certain year period. For example, you give a government-sponsored monopoly. I know some libertarians, you just literally just want to throw up. I know what I'm saying. I know it's not libertarian, but it's the way you stay above ground and still do this. You say, hey, military-industrial complex person company number 1, you get a special 5-year special monopoly in whatever, Iran or whatever, right? You deal with them and say, hey, I'm doing this. How do we deal with this? Because you might go, well, Larry, they should just compete. They should. You're right. They should. They don't have the institutional knowledge to do it. I'm not joking. They literally don't know how. What they know how to do is bribe congressmen and senators, and they're very good at that. They can bribe them all day to get business. That's the skill set they got down better than most, right? They get very good at that. But how do they compete in the market? They haven't done that since 93, right? So what, 30 years? They haven't competed in 30 years. There's no one in a company who knows how to compete. It doesn't exist. They've never had to. They don't know how to compete. So you give them 5 years and say, you got 5 years and we'll wean you off the monopoly for 5 years. Now you can figure out how to compete again in the world. You're going to get a whole bunch of cash because you're the only people who can sell here monopoly, and we'll enforce the monopoly. I know libertarians are ready to yell at me. This is how you stay above ground. If you don't do this, you don't stay above ground and you don't dismantle the military industrial complex. This is how you deal with the parasite that has latched onto the host. And if the host gets away, then if you pull a parasite too fast, it dies. Pinkerbell says it'd be just as easy for these companies to make cell phones or something. Agreed. Thank you, Pinkerbell. Thank you. That's my point. These companies are not evil. They're apathetic. They don't care what they sell. It is irrelevant. As long as it's high profit and no competition, they're good. They would sell trucks or cell phones or refrigerators, whatever. I don't care. Boats. Who cares? They just make money. Okay, I got it. I got it. And there's so much money, literally billions of dollars. Sorry, who am I kidding? Hundreds of billions of dollars literally in this. That's enough to put somebody underground. So you want to stay above ground, you have to wean these people off. Is it right? No, it's not. Is it libertarian? No, it is not. Is it the way to stay above ground, end the military-industrial complex, stop all the bombing and wars for America and the world? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is why people don't talk about this. They give you vague promises, vague this, vague that, because they know that the reality of it is it's impossible without making horrible sacrifices because of where we are now. We're in such a terrible spot. Again, I'll bring it up one more time. Remember, 60% of U.S. manufacturing is linked to the military-industrial complex. 60%. That is insane. How do you fix that? That is the way. That is the way. We literally have millions of contractors, people who contract with the federal government. Millions of them. I'm not making that number up. Millions with an S. It's huge. How do we get around that? We get around it by making this happen. Understanding it's a jobs program. Weaning people off so they can find more jobs, both here and abroad. Changing our military so that it does the things that we need to do best and stop policing the world and make it impossible to police the world. I'm not joking. Make it impossible to police the world because we shouldn't be doing it. Now, again, I tell you, the Marine Corps already, no more tanks in the Marine Corps. They're gone, right? So why would we have a massive land force? For what possible reason? Well, Larry, what if countries start doing stuff, whatever? Let them. It's fine. The other countries will find ways to defend themselves. And lots of countries have nuclear weapons now and big tanks and stuff. And good luck. Good luck. That's my point. I don't want to keep destroying this country. We have so many problems here. So many. If you can't see all the problems that we have here, either your life is really privileged and you're just living life, and good for you. I hope everyone watching is so privileged, their life is so awesome that they can care about, like, I don't know, overseas wars is their number one thing they care about. And we got to stop the bad guys because your life is so awesome. I hope you're all that way. But most of us are going to have our own problems dealing with. So why do I care about that stuff? If you can't pay your rent, why do you care if some country somewhere is getting bombed, as long as you're not bombing it? I don't mean to be cruel. I mean to be real. That's what I mean. I mean to be real. We're losing 100,000 people every year just an overdose? 100,000 on overdose. Deaths of despair are destroying this country. And we're worried about something else. I'm not worried about it. I don't care. Good luck is my answer. Good luck. I don't want that to happen to us. So I bring this up because the fear mongering, the fights against it, always the same thing. Larry, you don't understand. If we don't police the world will be unstable, and then we won't be able to trade. Okay, we're sanctioning 1/3 of the planet already, so we already have decided that that's not going to happen, right? Already, right? Number one. And number two, it's already unstable. We've got regional wars all over the place. It's already unstable. This horrible dystopian future you speak of is today. And it wouldn't be so if we weren't doing this. So that's the issue. See, Dave says, but Larry, what if Russia and China seize civilian cargo ships bound for Taiwan, Poland, Ukraine, South Korea, etc.? As I said earlier, Dave, we would be policing the naval zones. Of course we would. Yes. Trade still matters. So no, you don't get to seize civilian cargo ships. Yes, you don't get to see it. You don't get to do it. And right now, there is literally no nation on the planet. In fact, all the nations of the world, if they put all of their navies together, could not defeat our navy. I'm not making that up. China has one carrier. We have, I think, 14 carrier groups, maybe 13. About a dozen. We have about a dozen carrier groups. The Chinese have one carrier. I think the Russians have one or two. Who's going to beat us up? Nobody. It's a fantasy. This is stories people say, well, then they'll start gobbling up countries. Where? That's not a thing. That hasn't happened since, 1940? What are we talking about? That's not a thing. People don't just go in and gobble up countries all day and every 6, 7. That's not a thing. Not a thing. And if someone started to gobble up countries, people would stop. I know people are going to tell me, but Larry, then Russia will take over the world or whatever. It will not. This is a fantasy that people are telling you. If Russia decides, Russia can't take, it's taken Russia 10 years to take 20% of Ukraine. So in 50 years, Russia will conquer Ukraine. Okay, so every 50 years, Russia will conquer a country. I don't think that's gobbling up countries. We could probably stop them by then. Not just that. Everyone's going to stand around and do nothing. The Poles just go, oh, well, I guess they conquer us. Germans. I mean, do you really want to get Germans mad? Do you really want to get... That doesn't go well for anybody when Germans get mad. So you probably don't want to get the Germans, mad. It doesn't go well for anybody. It ends poorly for everyone when the Germans get mad. They're not going to make the Germans mad. They're going to do that? I mean, stop. They couldn't beat the Finns. I'm not even joking. If you know the history, the Russians have not been able to beat the Finns. This is garbage. It's just not a thing. So yes, Minor Threat says carriers are obsolete. Not in conventional war that these guys are talking about. Does that make sense, Minor Threat? They were talking about conventionally, seizing cargo ships. In that conventional war, carriers are devastating. But you're right. In the overall war yes, it's true. But in the case of this, they're devastating. So that's why I was talking about that. William Wells remembers the Winter War. Yes, thank you, my friend. That's what it was called, the Winter War, when the Russians tried to beat the Finns and they couldn't. I'm very, very impressive, William. Thank you for knowing that. Yes. So I'm not concerned. I am not concerned. Paula says carriers better than pirates. Yes, correct. In conventional war, that's why I brought that up in that specific case. So again, I think we can do this. No one's going to invade us. Wars will begin to stop. if we start actually, wars won't be any worse. That's what I'll say. Wars won't be any worse. And then if we stop sanctioning everybody like we are now, 1/3 of the country, watch, all of a sudden, I'll give you Iran. I'll give you North Korea. Two of the groups who supposedly hate us more than anybody else. Hear all the time. Iran's ready to kill us, whatever. I hear all the time. North Korea is going to come get us. Hear that all the time. If you know any actual Iranians, I do. I know some here. Some of the people from Iran who are mad at the government call themselves Persians. I don't know why they do that, but I do know some call themselves Persians. Some call themselves Iranians. So whatever they call themselves. All good. Address yourself as you see fit. No worries. But many of them love America. Love Americans. They love it. They wish they were more like America. It is their government that they can't stand, and our government that they hate. But individual Americans, most Iranians, most Persians love Americans, love us. And if you've ever been around Persians or Iranians, you know I'm right. So if we just leave them alone, they'll follow the Vietnam model. And in 20 years, they'll be our trading partners. Yes, we get our Persian rugs right now from Turkey. So the Turks will be angry because now we'll be getting Persian rugs from Persia. The Turks will be pissed off, but they'll get over it. We'll buy something else from them. Whatever we buy from Turkey, we'll buy the Turkish something else. But anyway, we can now buy actual Persian rugs from Iran. You think when those Persian rug dealers start, open up the American market and be like, we hate America. They'll be like, we love America. That's awesome. Oh, love the dollar. Dollar's awesome. There's not going to be any bricks. That's not going to be a thing. We're too busy getting our dollars. Not going to happen. Right? North Korea. You want to stop North Korea? Let the people see things like, I don't know, iPhones or whatever is the cool thing of the day. I'm sorry, food. I went too far with iPhones, didn't I? It's North Korea. Like sandwiches. Just let them see like a ham sandwich. They're like, oh my God, how do I know that? That's why they're coming over. One of the things they do in South Korea, I'm not making this up, is they would send balloons over with like books and stuff and food. And the balloon would pop, and people were going, oh my God, that's how it is in South Korea? I'm going. And these guys, that one guy, remember him a couple years back, got shot crossing the border from North to South Korea, took 6 rounds, and still crawled his ass into South Korea with 6 rounds in him. It's the 50 Cent of North Korea. And that guy crossed over to get that because he was like, I want some of this. Show the North Koreans that, done. You can fix this. But Larry, they have these horrible dictators. You're right. Some of them are terrible. Some dictators are horrible. Let them leave. I'm not joking. Let them leave. Why in the world? We think, and I'll give you this again. We think that North Korea is the Kim Il Sung, that the original Kim Il Sung, now down to Kim Jong Il, is just going to all of a sudden decide, I'm out. I'm leaving. Why? Why would he leave? Where's he going to go? We should let him go. I'm not joking. If we removed, why is North Korea still there? Why does China support North Korea? It's a buffer state between us in South Korea and China. They don't want American troops on the border. Once we shut down all the troops and get them all out of South Korea, there's not one American troop in South Korea. People will say, then the North Koreans will invade. No, they will not. That's silly. They will not invade. That's not going to happen. The reverse will happen. China will go, wait a minute, no troops in South Korea? Let's make a peace treaty with South Korea. You will have no U.S. troops in South Korea. They'll go, okay, great, because Americans aren't coming back anyway. And once that happens, China will be open to Korea reuniting. Because at that point, there'll be no Americans on China's borders. That's why the Koreans can't unite. That's the actual reason. They'll tell you all this other stuff. That's not true. The reason why China does it, North Korea is a drain on China. They would love North Korea to go away, but they're not going to have American troops on the border of China. Not doing that. Well, if there's no bases in South Korea, no bases in Japan, they have no reason to not let them do it. So you take Kim, you take Kim and his family and say, hey guys, there's a bunch of cool plots right here on the coast of Shanghai. Why don't you and your family take off, buy some land here, live your days out on a cool villa, take a bunch of money. You got a couple billion, take a couple billion, go there, just sit there and chill out over there. They'll go over there and leave, and then Korea will unite. Well, Larry, how can you unite without our help? The Germans figured it out. The Koreans will too. Everything I'm telling you is the way you create more peace. And it starts by us getting rid of the military-industrial complex. And we do that by recognizing it's a jobs program and changing. I know I went through a lot. But I wanted to make sure you understood that this is not about safety. It never was. It's not about democracy. It never was. We support lots of undemocratic societies with a military industrial complex. It is about a jobs program. It is about 850 or so, $900 billion. It's about that. And anybody trying to stop that, about them not staying above ground. We know that's what actually happens. I'm not making that up. You know I'm right. That's how it works. So instead, we stop doing that. And we allow people to buy what they want to buy from whatever. And we stop sanctioning people. And we make people be very happy about buying our stuff. As Andrew says, hamburger warfare. Yes. I don't eat McDonald's, but people do love McDonald's. That's true. Well, not as much now in America. They're having problems now. But generally speaking, people do like McDonald's. And if you want to eat McDonald's, you should be able to. And a lot of people across this world would love to eat McDonald's. So put a couple McDonald's in North Korea and good to go. Eat your hamburgers if you want to. I agree. No doubt. Our culture, the good parts of it, damn it, not the bad parts we've had recently. The good parts of our culture are more powerful than any bomb, than any Marine, than any tank, than any plane or bomb. Absolutely. 100%. So yes. William says North Koreans would be mind blown over a Subway sandwich. Yes. Right? You want to eat Subway? Go eat Subway. I think it's great. Have what you want to have. What was the saying? It's a little exaggerated, but the concept is what actually knocked down the Soviet Union. It was Coca-Cola and blue jeans. Exaggeration, obviously. But the point was Russians wanted that, right? Russians wanted to have the same things. East Germans wanted to have what the West Germans had, right? They all wanted it. And when the people want it, the government has to bend. At one point, it will. The Iranian government will bend. The Saudi government will bend. Why do you think they don't want this? If we started doing this, the Saudis would be they'd be going out of their mind. They'd be going out of their mind. If they're like, my God, if the Americans do this in 20 years, they won't be our royal family like the British royal family. We'll be like that. We're going to have to get us a Meghan Markle and move to Canada. That's going to wind up happening. They're going to be scared. But they'd be right. This is how you fix it. Absolutely. Paula says the Russians wanted a toilet paper. That's also true. They wanted lots of cool things like that. Yes, absolutely. Paul Olsko's going to say, that's why the U.S. sent Dennis Rodman to North Korea. Seriously, we need to send over the 92 Chicago Bulls to free those people in North Korea prison camps. All right. Some didn't know this, but they actually love Dennis Rodman over there. That's true. They love him over there. So, yeah, send over our basketball team then. Whatever. I mean, people love basketball. Watch basketball. I think that's amazing. Go watch basketball games. Go do what makes you happy, whatever you enjoy. You will find the people change. I yapped away a lot, but I did want to cover this. I hope it made sense. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, then I need you to do me a couple favors. Number one, click the button that is like. I haven't asked you because I've been yapping away, but please click that button. If you haven't clicked that button, I'm going to take it as if you hate me. Don't hate me. Click the button, damn it. Click the like button. It does matter. If you're watching this on X, please retweet or repost or whatever that is. Please do that so people can see this. It does matter. Please, if you're watching on YouTube and or Facebook, please click that subscribe button. It's important. Click that bell for notifications if you can. That's awesome. If you want to super chat me because you love me, you can. And if you want to, you can always become a member. You can become a member by clicking the join button. It's $29 per month. It helps me to keep doing this and do less and less consulting, which is why I can't do this because I'm working on other things. I know you want me to do this more. You can subscribe and become a member, and then I will. That would help tremendously if you can. But no matter what, click the like button. I do appreciate everything you've done. I will grab one last piece if I could from, let's see here, from Pinkerbell. Thank you for coming again. Fix a bridge or staff a library or clerk the War Department or something. Yes. That's what I'll say. William asks, opinions on the U.S. Coast Guard. I have many opinions on the U.S. Coast Guard. A little bit off topic, but I will cover it. Number one, U.S. Coast Guard is a whole lot more hardcore than people think. People think of the Coast Guard as kind of like, the guy's going to hang out. No. The Coast Guard is fighting the drug war. The Coast Guard is fighting refugees. The Coast Guard is fighting a lot of stuff. They have a very long boot camp. The Coast Guard's pretty hardcore. They're far more hardcore than most people think and very valuable for us to have. And the Coast Guard's very valuable for us to have, and they're underrated to be forward. They are underrated. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that was clear. So anyway. All right, guys. I want to say thank you so much for today. I will be on tomorrow at around 7 8. It's about 7 p.m. tomorrow. AMA. I'll take any questions you have. We'll talk about that. I will see you all very soon. Oh, by the way, as I always say, at the end of this, please comment, come back and comment afterwards, because you know who loves that? The comments after it's over, Al Gore Rhythm. He loves them. He does love it when you comment afterwards. So please, afterwards, come back and comment.